Welcome, everyone. We're so happy that you're here. My name is Richard Taylor with Ideate Software, and joining me today is also Glynis Patterson with Ideate Software. As I said, Glynis is going to be reviewing the question panel, so please feel free to type questions as we go along, and she will answer those. So we're here to look at the amazing things that you can accomplish with sheet and view tools within IdeateApps, and we have a lot of information to cover. So I'm going to go pretty quickly, and so I'm going to say right off the bat that if there's any information that you feel like I covered too quickly, there's a lot of information on our website, and I'm going to be reviewing that as well as far as videos and other tools and help files. So real quickly, just an introduction about myself. My background is in architecture. I have over 20 years of Revit experience, and I was fortunate enough to be one of the original employees at Revit Technology back in the day. And then I worked at Autodesk for a number of years. I was one of the product managers for Revit for a number of years. I worked at various other software companies, and then I've also worked in both large and small architecture firms. And I'm always happy to connect with people. I always say that you feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. You can follow me on Twitter. And I did set up a business-only Facebook page for those. If you want to search Richard Taylor Ideate Software, you can find me there. So always happy to connect on social media. So Ideate Software is all about simplifying your Revit data challenges. We create 5 desktop Revit applications or Revit add-on applications. And as I said, we're supporting Revit 2018 through Revit 2021. And we just introduced another application that is available for the cloud, or really it's available for Autodesk BIM 360, and that is our Ideate dashboard for Autodesk BIM 360. So if you want some more information on that, again, that information is available on our website. So, we're really well known for our amazing products, but also our support. So we have both in-product help as well as online help. We have getting started guides in all of our solutions, and this goes or it holds true for the IdeateApps tools as well. As I mentioned, we're updating and supporting the last 4 releases of Revit, so that's 2018 through Revit 2021. And of course, we're working on the next version of Revit, whatever that may be. So, we're always, very clued in to the development of both Autodesk Revit as well as, of course, our own development, so that we're producing those solutions very quickly after a new version of Revit is released. And of course, we work with customers all around the world, as I'd mentioned kind of earlier, with large, complex data, and we're really well known for that. Really, I should say, expanding the amount of data that you can manipulate and that you can work with within Revit. So we are here to see IdeateApps. Well, hey, what is IdeateApps? IdeateApps is a single application. So sometimes it's a little bit confusing because we have Ideate applications, right, which are our 5 desktop applications. One of those applications is called IdeateApps, which is a tool set. It's 9 tools that allows you to increase the productivity for the entire BIM staff. And so today, what we're going to be focusing on is an overview of the sheet and view tools within IdeateApps. We're going to show you how you can manipulate some of your naming standards when it comes to creating new views. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how we can customize those rules and actually use properties from the database, from the Revit database, to sort of drive some of that naming convention. And then I'm going to talk about some creative workflows, putting all of these things together, basically the sheet manager, the align, the clone, and the view creator, and give you some tips and tricks along the way and hopefully answer some of your questions. And again, in this short half-hour presentation, the goal is really to whet your appetite and to kind of give you an overall understanding of these tools. And then if you'd like to learn more, then we've got much more detailed information on our website. So the 4 tools, as I mentioned, are Ideate View Creator, Ideate Sheet Manager, Ideate Align, and Ideate Clone. And so what I thought I'd do first is just very quickly kind of give you a high-level overview of what these tools are intended to be and what they're intended to basically solve when it comes to a particular problem. So Ideate View Creator allows you to bulk create views very easily. And you're going to see that I can do this. I can actually, let's say, apply dependent views. I can duplicate views. I can do plans to levels. So there's a number of ways or methods that I can use to create these new views. And these new views are going to be able to be controlled. Their parameters, I should say, are going to be able to be controlled. So I can set, let's say, the discipline or the phase or the view filter. And I've got rules that I can set up to sort of manipulate those items. So what I'm doing is I'm sort of pre-populating, if you will, and I'm creating all this information before I actually create the view. So I don't have to like duplicate a view and then go back and change all the parameters. I can do that up front. So it's really nice to be able to create those views quickly and easily. Then our sheet manager, I like to think of this as our central traffic cop. And I'm not sure that's the best metaphor anymore because I don't know if people even know what a traffic cop is or are there any traffic cops anymore. But basically, it's sort of the centralized location that you would go to for all of your sheet and view tools within IdeateApps. And it allows you to create new sheets. It allows you to drag and drop views from one side of the dialog to the other. And you're going to see that I can cut and paste schedules and just really manage all of my sheets and views so easily and quickly from this dialog. And then sort of as a subset, there's a couple tools, which is our Ideate clone, allowing you to copy or duplicate a sheet because that's just not available in Revit. And when you copy a sheet or clone a sheet, it allows you to basically control the viewports that are going to be on that new sheet. So you can copy them dynamically, or you can swap one viewport to another viewport. So I'm going to show you some examples of that. And then align, as you're sort of manipulating all this information, in the background, Ideate Align is going to help you align multiple views across multiple sheets. So for instance, your plans, like your architecture, structure, mechanical, coordination plans, could all be in the same location on the sheet. They're going to be aligned by the X and Y model coordinates. If it's a non-plan view, such as an elevation, detail, or schedule view, it's going to be aligned by the upper left crop region. Okay, that was a lot of introduction. So let's show you how we can put them all together and see it in action. So I'm going to switch over here to Revit. Today I'm using Revit 2021, the latest version from Autodesk. But as I said, we have versions that work from Revit 2018 through Revit 2021. And if you are an Ideate Software customer, you'll know that if you install any one of our Ideate Software applications, we install the Ideate Software ribbon panel. So you'll notice that I've got the ribbon panel here for Ideate Software. But first, I want you to focus your attention over here on the project browser. I have a number of plans, and I've actually created this first floor architecture plan, right, which is the overall plan, right? So I'm going to bring that up here in a second. And you can see that this is our Audubon sample file. And then what I've done is I've created a couple dependent views. I've created the east view and the west view. And so you can see those two. Basically, I just split those, but they are dependent views. So I'm going to close these views and go back to that original sheet. And I would like to now create the same conditions. So I'd like to create dependent views, east and west, for these other plans. So how do I do that? Well, View Creator is a great way to start doing that. So I'm going to pull up the View Creator dialog here. And as I said, there are different methods for creating new views. Plans to levels, duplicate, I'm going to come back to that in a moment. But in this case, I'm going to apply dependence. And there are a number of different rules. I'm going to use this dependent rule that, again, ships with the solution. So, you can customize your own, but we give you a lot of content. So I'm going to select the views. And you'll notice that it's only showing me those views that have dependence. So in this case, I'm just going to select that first floor architecture, east and west. And I'm going to say next. So now it's asking me, it says, hey, Richard, where would you like to apply those dependent views? Well, I'm going to apply them back to the architecture. And I'm doing that for a reason, because I want to show you an error message, because obviously they're already there. I'm going to do the building code, the coordination. The detailed plan and the enlarged toilet plan, I'm going to skip over because those are, those don't need dependence. So I'm going to say the finished plan, the signage, mechanical, plumbing, and structural. So those are the ones that I want to have the dependence applied to. So I'm going to say next. And through this rule, we're doing some great stuff where it's actually, again, applying the same parameters and the crop regions associated with those dependents to the other floor plans. So it's going to go through and it's actually creating, it says here, 16 views. So right away, I say, create 16 views. Click. Nope, it's grayed out. Well, why is it grayed out? Well, because it tells me, hey, you've got some problems. There's already a first floor architecture east and a first floor architecture west. So, you know, I did that just to show you that there was some errors there. So what I can do is if there is a duplicate, I have the option of, you know, renaming that, but in this case, I don't want to do that. I want to actually delete those two. And as soon as I delete those two, you'll notice that this becomes green and I can create those 14 views. So I kind of can review that and I can say, wow, that's great. Let's go ahead and create those 14 views. I'm done. And so then if you'll notice over here in the project browser, in just a second, all of those are going to have their new dependents. So if we expand on coordination, we have first floor coordination east and first floor coordination west. Let's go ahead and fit that. So now those have the exact crop regions. I even had turned the crop off as far as displaying. And so those settings were all the same as these original ones. So now I'm ready to start using my sheet manager to maybe lay out some of these new views that I just created on this, on some new sheets. So as I said, let's go to the sheet manager here. And this is our centralized sort of system. As I said, I guess I'll have to think of a better analogy than traffic cop, but you'll notice that I can access the view creator directly from here. I can also access creating sheets. I can duplicate or clone, or I can align all from this dialog. So the first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to create a new sheet. So we're going to come over here. We've got the title block. We're going to select, in this case, I don't necessarily need to have a placeholder sheet, but you notice I can actually, you know, just create from placeholders. So maybe these sheets were created via Ideate BIMlink through Excel. And we have a whole series of placeholder sheets that were imported from Excel. That can be easily done. But in this case, I'm not going to use the placeholder sheet. I'm just going to create the default. And so now we have this. And you know what? I should have maybe renamed that. So I'm going to go over here right within the dialog and rename that. I can do this on multiple sheets, and I'm going to call this Z.1, and this is going to be my coordination. Coordination. And make sure I spell that right. And so the reason I do that is primarily just so that it pops up here in the list so we can see it a little bit better. And you'll notice that Z.1 has no views assigned to it. Well, this is my coordination sheet. So I'm going to expand over here on the left-hand side, the floor plans. And I've got this great little tick mark here that says hide place views. So if you notice, I've got 23 floor plans. If I untick that, I've actually got 30 floor plans because several have been already placed on sheets. So this is a nice way for me to quickly see what views have not yet been placed. So I'm going to come down here to the coordination west, click and drag it and release. So that's how you can just start assigning viewports, is basically click, drag, and drop. And it will get assigned over here to Z.1. And then maybe I'd like to come over here to the schedules. And we're going to just go here. It's kind of a, not necessarily coordination, but I'm going to do the door hardware schedule. Click, drag, and drop that over to Z.1 as well. Now, in the background here, let's come over here to finishes. And this was that sheet that I had sort of set up at the beginning when I went into the project. You'll notice that there's an interior elevation here, a signage elevation. And maybe I would like to have that on this coordination plan. So what I can do is I can click on that elevation here in the sheet manager, click, drag and drop over to coordination. And you'll see that because views can only appear on one sheet, it removes it from that sheet and it places it over on coordination. So again, if I double click, then I'm actually accessing that sheet. And now I can start to sort of lay out the information the way that I want. So as a starter, I want the plan, the coordination plan in the upper left. I'm going to bring this elevation down here. And I'm going to bring this schedule also down over to the lower left. So I'll say zoom to fit. So now I've got the views that I wanted. That was that new coordination plan that I created with View Creator. I've got the schedule. I've got an elevation that I brought from another sheet. So I'm good to go. And so I actually now want to set this up to copy it to structure, mechanical, plumbing, electrical, because I have the locations where I want everything. So back in the project browser, let's come over here to Sheet. We're going to come down here to my coordination, right? This is what we're on. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to duplicate. And this is how you can so easily duplicate. Oh, wait. Oh, it's not available. Everything's grayed out because Revit doesn't allow it. Well, that's where Ideate Software solves that. So under the coordination, I can now select to clone. So it says, okay, Richard, you started with Z.1. You're going to go to Z.2. We're going to call it structure. All right. And here is where I have the ability to copy views on the fly. So I can copy, duplicate, duplicate with detailing, duplicate as a dependent, or I can swap one view to another. So it's giving you a lot of flexibility. In this case, I already create, as you saw with View Creator, I created the structure west. So I'm going to come down here and we're going to say, go down to structure. I'm going to go west. I feel like singing a song there, but I won't. So now the elevation signage, notice that right now it's showing me only interior elevations, but I actually have a building elevation. So I want to untick this show similar views. So that's going to give me the list of everything, all the other views. So I want to swap the interior view with the building elevation that I have. And I always go by this so quickly. Let me see, drafting, elevation, there we are, elevation for structure. And then the schedule, current, because schedules can actually appear on multiple sheets. But in this case, I want to show different schedules, and I have a sticky schedule, which is another solution of ours, where I brought in some information from Excel for this minimum compressive strength. So we're going to swap there. Okay, so basically before I do this, it's going to copy the title block, all the properties, any 2D information that's also on that sheet, and it's going to swap the first floor coordination to structure, the signage to the building elevation for structure, the door hardware to this sticky minimum compressive strength. And then I've also got some rules down here that if I am copying information, like duplicating or duplicating with detailing, I can basically find and replace information very easily. But for right now, I'm going to hit clone, and it's going to do its magic. And it's going to create a new sheet with all the properties that I've specified here, right? So it's got to sort of click here for a little minute or a few minutes and do that. So I'm going to hit done. And sure enough, as we go down, here is our original, remember we had Z.1 coordination, and now we have Z.2 structure. And the plans are exactly aligned by their X and Y coordinates. And again, the other views like this schedule and this elevation are aligned by the upper left crop region. Well, you know, I realized something here. This the original sheet here, if I zoom to fit, had this nice legend, and I totally forgot to do that. So what I'm going to come down here to this finishes, and I'm going to look at the legend, and I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to go right click, and I'm going to say copy legends and schedules. And I'm going to come over here to my structure. That was my new one I created, right, that we duplicated or cloned, and right click and paste legends and schedules. So that's going to paste it in the exact location. So now, if I come over here to Z2 structure, there we have our nice legends, our general notes. We have, again, our schedules, and everything's all nicely set. And I also wanted to show you just real quickly that what happens if this goes out of alignment. So I'm going to just move this off to the side here, right? And so what we can do here is specify, and we can say, well, we want to align. And it's basically saying, well, what is your alignment view? Well, I want it to be maybe my coordination view, right? And I want that coordination west, right? And I want to align the floor plan, in this case, that I moved off accidentally or something, and I want to hit align. And you're going to see that it pops right back into place. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom to fit. Now, what I'd like to do is come back over here to my PowerPoint presentation, and I always get the question, well, Richard, that's great, but can you align multiple views at once? And my answer is always yes. So I have a little video here. It's all set up and it shows it a little bit easier. So in this case, I've got this first floor hospital project, that you've probably seen from Autodesk. And I've got I want to align the second floor, third floor, fourth floor, and fifth floor plans to the model coordinates. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm also going to be aligning the schedule there across several views as well. So I can select those and then double click to open up those views. And there you see if I tile all of them, I was very quickly able to align multiple views, right, to the first floor plan. All right, I'm going to switch back here to Revit. And then I also wanted to show you a little bit additional with View Creator. So we're going to come over here to View Creator. And I said that you can start setting up different rules and there's different methods. So remember when I first created those dependent views, we used this apply dependent. Now I'm going to say duplicate views. And I'm going to say, you know what, I want to use a rule here that's going to be duplicate by phase. And we're going to say select views. So in this case, I'm going to do my reflected ceiling plan. So I've got a coordination plan. I've got plan level 9, let's just say, and I'm not going to do this one here or this top of footing. I'll just select these two and I'll say next. So basically you see that I can duplicate, again, duplicate with detailing or duplicate as a dependent. And so what it does is based on that rule, it's giving me some properties here, meaning that the phase rules, I can say that I want this to be office renovation. I want the phase filter to be show previous and new, right? And I want the suffix to be office, and I want the prefix to be, I'm typing this in RT, let's say. And you'll notice that the names are automatically changing before I actually create those views. But let's say you'd like to tie, as an example, maybe you'd like to tie this phase, this office renovation. Notice that when I go over to new construction, nothing changes here. And if I click over here, existing, nothing changes. This is sort of, these name overrides are sort of independent. So I'd like to modify this particular rule. I'm going to edit it, and you can kind of see the secret sauce behind here. We're giving you this little formula. It's basically saying, here's the prefix, here's the name that we're of the new view, and a suffix. So what I'm going to do is remove that suffix. So we'll say remove. And I'm going to create a field that's going to come directly from the Revit database. So in this case, the field is going to be from the new view, and it's going to be phase name. So we're going to come down over here to phase name, and I'm going to say OK. And it gives me a preview down below here, and quickly I see that, you know what, it'd be nice if I had a dash between those two. So I'm going to add a dash and move that. You can just move the formula pieces around, right? The components of the formula. So now it's prefix, name, phase name. And then over here to the right are items that I can start to include within that rule. So right now you'll notice that I have phase and phase filter. I might want to also include discipline for the user to be able to prompt and change that. Or I can specify sort of a hard-coded rule. In this case, you'll notice I can apply parameters, view template parameters. I can actually apply up to 3 and then finally assign one to the actual view. So as an example, I might apply a view template that sets the design option, but then finally apply or assign a template that is architecture as an example, or mechanical. So now I'm going to say save and close and say OK. Now when it runs that rule, watch what happens. If I change this to existing, the name changes to existing. If I change this to office renovation, the name of it automatically changes to office renovation. I still have the ability to do a prefix if I want to. So if I did want to type in, RT or something, uppercase, RT dash. You can see that I can actually do that very easily. So again, this is just, I'm only hopefully whetting your appetite when it comes to these rules. There's so much that you can do, and you can create these. And again, we supply many of these rules for you. I'm going to go ahead and create those two views for a second. I'm going to say done. And the reason, before I go to the view, I just wanted to also show you on the view creator. Many of our applications have this little cogwheel, this settings. So this is telling you where the rule library path is coming from. If there are no rules in the project, it's going to be loaded from this particular location. And you can set that so that it's a standard location for all of your office. So in this case, if I go back up to my reflected ceiling plans, now I look at my, let's say my coordination plan office renovation, and you'll also notice that it has all the properties set. I forgot, I had set to architecture. I didn't change that to mechanical, but you'll see it says show previous and new, and the phase is office renovation. So it has all of the settings that I selected for that particular new view creation. Okay, so I just wanted to highlight again that the rules are accessed or the location via that little cog setting. And we have both basic rules and bonus rules that are delivered with View Creator. But of course, you're going to be able to manipulate and create your own, or we can even help you create rules as well. So some creative workflows, putting it all together, just as kind of highlighting some of the things that you saw me do. I was able to use View Creator to create some new views for the dependent views, the west and east. Then I used Sheet Manager to basically place those views on a new sheet. And as I said, you can even use Ideate BIM Link to maybe create some of those placeholder sheets. And then you can copy and paste legends, and you can use Ideate Clone and Ideate Align to arrange the design options, phase, disciplines, etc., and views on the sheet with the exact alignment. So you saw that I was able to align those between the sheets as well. So just a couple tips here. I wanted to reiterate that if you're aligning views, if it's a plan view, it's based on the X and Y model coordinates. If it's a non-plan view, it's based on the upper left crop region. Also, when it comes to the view rules, if the little tick mark, meaning is prompt for value, is on, that means that the user, while running the rule, will have the ability to change it. So as an example, if I tick that discipline, the user, when they run the rule, will have the ability to set the discipline. Now, it's important to note that sometimes the item might be grayed out because there's a hierarchy. For instance, in this case, I gave the user the ability to change the phase filter, but I also set the view template. Well, the view template controlled the phase filter in this particular case. So the hierarchy was the view template wins, and therefore the phase filter is grayed out because it's not available. So just remember that if you get something like this that's grayed out and you can't select it, it's because it's being set sort of as a hierarchical element beforehand. And then, as I mentioned quickly, you can apply view templates while you're creating the new views in addition to assign. So if I wanted to, like I said, apply a phase or a design option, I could do that. And then finally assign the view template that I wanted, for instance, architectural, mechanical, or plumbing. So I know this was a lot of information, but hopefully I gave you a quick overview of the sheet and view tools in IdeateApps, gave you some naming standards for view naming for the rules, how you could, basically control the naming via the actual rule itself when it comes to View Creator, and customizing those rules a little bit, some creative workflows of putting it all together, and some tips and tricks. So what I'd like to do now is open up the floor to Glennis. I know we only have a couple minutes, but are there some burning questions that you feel I should answer as a group?
Hey, Richard. Thanks. We had a lot of great questions, and I've generally tried to reply all to the group. There were two that were kind of similar that might be worth just sort of stating out loud. I'll read them both to you. The first was, can the clone tool be used to copy a sheet from one model into another model? And then the very related question was, can Ideate Align place floor plans based on a floor plan from a linked model? So they're both sort of talking about, can they interoperate with linked models?
That is a great question, and I know it's something that I think we'd like to apply, but right now we are only working in the active model, so we're not able to sort of clone a view or a sheet from the linked model to the active model. So it is sort of encompassing within your active model that you're working.
Right. I did mention, that BIMlink can do that. So BIMlink can grab the coordinate data from the link file, and then you can use that information to locate to locate a viewport on a sheet. So BIMlink is a way to kind of deal with those scale problems or challenges.
And this brings up a sort of a generalized question. If people are interested in that, one of the things that we've always had trouble with in general, right, with many of our applications is that the link information is not available through the API, the application programming interface from Autodesk. We have a Revit Ideas to enable more API access to the linked information. So if you would like to, I would encourage you to go to the Revit Ideas forum and search for that link API and vote it up within the list. And maybe Autodesk will give us some more tools to be able to sort of manipulate more of the information within a linked model. All right. I know, like I said, this has been very quick overview. One last thing I will before actually, I have two last things. I lied. This information, a lot of it, as I said, is available on our website. So we have a video playlist. You can go to our IdeateApps. You can pull down the playlist, or there's a selection that says Sheet and View Management. And all the videos that relate to sheet and view management for IdeateApps will appear. And so you can review those, and we're constantly adding to those. And of course, we have extensive online help for all of these applications. And then here's my final one. So with that, I have a couple minutes after the hour. I want to thank my colleague, Glynis Patterson, so much for being able to answer the questions. I know I wouldn't be able to get to all of them with all the information that I presented. So thank you so much. Please, if you're interested in the IdeateApps, the Sheet and View tools, go and download a trial if you're not currently a customer. And if you are, I hope you can review the videos and learn a little bit more about these tools. So thank you so much. We appreciate your business.